Hello and welcome everyone! Today we will customize this Breyer model into a chestnut horse. As this is my first video of this kind, we will ignore the cringe from the first attempt. I'm sorry for the overall quality. The lighting is pretty horrible, the camera tends to be shaky at some points, and of course the audio. My voice is really weird, but I still hope you enjoy. The materials used are listed in the description down below. As a first step, I repaint the entire body of the horse with a very light brown color. I usually prefer to mix the colors with an off-white color because they end up looking more natural than just a plain white. Depending on which color the horse is, this might take several coats. Once the horse is completely covered in paint, you want to add the next darker color, in this case a light reddish brown. Start by painting on the back and continue to cover the horse. Reference is always a great way to make the patterns look natural, but of course you can go as you want. An airbrush is a great tool to make a soft color transition. The same effect can be done with pastels or very watered down acrylics. I continue by spraying the outer side of the legs, the side of the belly, the neck and the face. Be sure not to cover up all the lighter parts like the belly, the chest, and in my case around the eyes and the snout. Once you're satisfied, you can go in with an even darker brown. Start with the back and then move along the neck, the feet and the knees. Adding darker shades adds depth to the model. Again, be sure to not cover up all the other colors. When you use models, be it a horse or anything else, that are more defined, you can also start to shade the muscle area. With this model, it's kinda difficult since there are not really a lot of muscle details. It's a fluffy pony after all, so yeah. The base coat is now done. For the mane and tail, I mix up a very light brown with an off-white color. It's pretty similar with the base coat color in this case, but that is pure accident, to be honest, not some artistic choice. When working with acrylics, it's always good to water them down. It takes more time to get the opacity up, but you don't end up with paint streaks. The next part is pretty shaky, so if you get sick easily, you can skip it to here. I basically paint the snout in a very dark grey color. I color around the nostrils and along the mouth. Horses don't have a very thick fur coat around the mouth, so it usually looks either dark grey or pinkish, depending on the genetics. Plus, I personally think it looks adorable. For the hoofs, mix up a dark brown, greyish color. Usually darker horses have darker hoofs, and with white markings on the leg, the hoof is usually more of a light brownish color. Be sure to look at reference pictures if you want to make it realistic. I use normal acrylics here. In case of the hoofs, the acrylics aren't watered down too much because the streakiness is pretty natural and ends up looking better with the hoofs. But be sure to water them down a bit. I wasn't able to film the next step, so I took pictures instead. Paint the eyes white. If you want to add extra detail, you can outline the eyes with a black color. Use a brown color to draw in the iris. Be sure to don't water it down too much to avoid dripping, because it is really frustrating to deal with that. The more white is visible, the more stressed and scared the horse will end up looking, so keep that in mind. When the color has dried, you can go in with a lighter brown and paint on the bottom of the eyes. Water it down a bit to create a smoother transition. Now do the same thing reverse. Add a darker brown on top of the eye line, and if you want, you can go around the outer line of the iris to add a sort of sharper circle. This adds a lot of depth and looks much more realistic than just plain brown. When it comes to the pupils, you can take the realistic route and add vertical pupils. Horses and goats have those. For the finishing touch, you can go in with some pastels on the model. In my case, I tried to make a smoother transition to where the mane starts and the tail. Sorry, I had a lot of issues with the light here. When using pastels instead of acrylics, be sure to use a sealant once in a while. Once you start to notice that the colors won't build up, just spray the model with a sealant. It's kinda like creating a new layer in Photoshop. Varnish also helps you if you notice that the paint just comes off. I sealed the entire model off screen, and after it was dried, I go in with a glossy varnish on the eyes and nostrils. If you don't have access to that, you can add a little white spot into the eyes to create a lighting effect. And there she is! This is my first attempt to make a tutorial with actual voiceover, so please have mercy. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you want to see more or have an idea for any future project, be sure to hit the subscribe button and leave a comment down below. It means the world to me, and it is completely free. Thank you so much for watching, it means a lot to me, and I hope to see you next time. Have a nice day/night.